Welcome home, my little hellhounds. I hope you're all doing very well. I just wanted to do a very quick intro to let you know that tonight's stories are all posted by Carly K's 008 on the r/paranormally subreddit. So if you have any stories or you want to read some of Carly K's 008's very talented work, then head over and join their subreddit. Link will be in the description. Now, let's get right into it. I could see it through the mirror. I'd like to start off by saying that I've had loads of experiences throughout my lifetime, but the one I am about to share with you is the one that stands out above all the rest. The year was 2011 and it was my 21st birthday. I don't remember much from earlier in the day. All I can remember is my boyfriend at the time and myself went to my parents' house to see them and spend time with them for my birthday. During my visit with my parents, I noticed that my mother seemed really off. The facial expression she carried seemed far away, like her mind was elsewhere, but her body was there. I do need to point out that my mother and I were extremely close. She was literally my rock, the most important person to me in my life. I remember being there for a few hours. We had cake and ice cream and took a few pictures. I didn't know it then, but eventually I'd come to the realization that that would be the last picture I would ever get to take with her. I remember getting ready to leave and kissing her and hugging her goodbye. The last words she ever spoke to me was, "I love you and I will see you tomorrow." But sadly, before tomorrow came, she passed away in the middle of the night due to a brain aneurysm. I would later discover, a year or so later, that she was aware that she was terminally ill and fought her battle in mostly silence and alone, only choosing to tell her mother, who has also passed in recent years since. Fast forward about 3 months after she passed. Up until this point, I have had a few bizarre and otherworldly experiences, but this one takes the cake. My partner and my roommates all worked at the same place, so they worked the same hours, and I was the oddball out. I worked second shift for a local restaurant and wasn't expected to be at work until 4 p.m. on this particular day. I am asleep in bed when I am awoken up by my alarm clock. The time is around 2 p.m. I wake up and roll over to hit the snooze button and turn back over to fall back to sleep. When I turn over and close my eyes to drift back off to sleep, I'm startled by the feeling of someone's hand nudging me softly on my arm through my blankets. Naturally, I was instantly terrified. I knew I was home alone, and what was happening to me right then should not be happening. It wasn't logical. I remember feeling the heat from fear rise in my cheeks. I couldn't move. I thought that if I just laid there and ignored it, it would go away. But oh, how wrong I was. It kept nudging me. So I gathered the strength and willpower to sit up in my bed and see what it was, but when I did, nothing was there. I don't know what possessed me to look, but my eyes shot directly to the mirror in the bathroom. My partner and I stayed in the master bedroom of the house, which means we also have a bathroom attached to our bedroom. The way my room was set up, you could easily see into the bathroom. As my eyes locked onto the bathroom mirror, I could see perfectly a dark shadow figure slowing, what looked like levitating, make its way across my mirror, as if it knew the only way I could see it was by looking through the mirror. When I saw it, it's as if all time stopped. I couldn't believe what was happening to me. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And most of all, I couldn't believe what I was deliberately being made contact with by something I didn't understand at all. Whoever or whatever this was wanted my attention, and it wanted me to know it was there. And that's it for tonight, my little hellhounds. Thanks for listening. If you have any scary stories you want narrated on the channel, then submit them to Reddit r/homeofscares and follow me on Twitter at homeofscares. Don't forget to check out Carly K's 008 subreddit r/paranormally. Sleep paralysis. After my mom passed away when I was 21 and I started having paranormal experiences more frequently, I also began to have episodes known as sleep paralysis. I would say it wasn't longer than a month or two after she passed away that these episodes began to happen. But what's really strange is how they started happening. One afternoon in the summer months, August, September time, my mum passed in July. My sister and I decided to go out and have some lunch together at the local Zaxby's in town. My sister and I were pretty close, and we felt comfortable enough to talk to each other about the strange things that had been happening to us both, without fear of judgment. Before this lunch date with my sister, I'd never before heard of the term sleep paralysis, and honestly had no idea what it was. My sister asked me if I'd ever had sleep paralysis before. My answer was obviously no, but with my curious brain I asked her what it was. She explained to me that basically when you are falling asleep or waking up, that your mind wakes before your body does. She went on to describe to me that when she has an episode, she can't move her body because it feels heavy, as if someone is laying on top of her. She goes on to say she's also unable to speak, but usually is able to open her eyes if she so chooses. Sometimes she would even see shadow figures around her. She shared that on top of having these bouts of sleep paralysis, she was also having instances where her name was being called out by a disembodied voice while she was awake. To be honest, I didn't know what to think about everything when we shared with one another. I chalked it up to stress and still being in the mourning stages of loss on both of our parts. This is where shit gets really interesting. A few short days had passed, and by a few, I literally mean a day or two. Keep in mind, after the conversation I had with my sister, I was still skeptical about the things happening to us. One night I woke up hungry in the middle of the AMs. I had gone to work earlier that night and brought home some ice cream. Everyone in the house was asleep, so I decided to get up out of bed and groggily make my way to the fridge, where I indulged in my DQ blizzard. Probably Butterfinger, knowing me, and went straight back to bed afterwards. I don't know how much time passed from the time I laid back down until I woke up unable to move. I remember the sounds of 100+ voices talking all around me in a whisper, but I couldn't make out a single word any one of them was saying. I couldn't move my body, and even though I felt like I could, I didn't open my eyes. My body felt so heavy, like there was this invisible force holding me down. I couldn't move at all. I remember thinking to myself, what the fuck is going on? I laid there for a few seconds, even though I was scared shitless. I was trying to see if I could make out what these voices around me were saying, but honestly, it was impossible. I refused to open my eyes. I consider myself brave and logical, but in that moment all logic went out of the window. I did the only thing I could think to do. After a few seconds of listening to these voices talking all around me, I just told myself to go back to sleep over and over again in my own head. Eventually, after saying that a few times, I did. I fell to sleep with no problems. When I woke up the next day, it all came rushing back to me. I remembered everything, the heaviness, the voices, in a twisted fate of irony. I just simply said to myself, so that was sleep paralysis. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I feel like something had overheard my sister and I talking that day at lunch. I don't know if it was a spirit, ghost, demon, interdimensional being. I can only speculate. But something intelligent, something able to observe and interact, made contact with me that night. If you haven't already read my blog entry titled "I Could See It Through the Mirror," I would suggest giving it a read. Eventually, after what I believe to be this same being made contact with me in a visible and conscious manner. If you also like these scary stories, then don't forget to subscribe and click the like button and tickle that bell icon so you get notified every time I upload. Now, good night, my little hellhounds.